Legal a animação.
Thank you so much, Sam, Kylaris, and Avenger, for getting us here into game number 1. I'm Toby, joined by Jorosaw, and we have got PCS6 EMEA starting right here, right now. Joro, great to be here. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really, really well, thank you. It was very interesting as well to see the desk analyze all of their picks on the Fantasy League, completely forgetting, of course, that obviously, Toby, we're going to beat all of them, and I'm coming off the back of this as PGC champions, so they can fight amongst themselves, but if you ever want to see what the sharp end of the stick looks like, feel free to take a look at us.
There you go. And I just gotta, I love how calm and casual Calaris was in his first win of the day prediction. Because if there's one thing we've kind of agreed upon right now, is that
quatro.
Northern Lights
Não.
always win the first game.
Cara, 4 times em suas 9 Island. Meia Northern Lights está indo para a escola, aparentemente. Drop de sempre. T-Liquid pega a Central, que é Pushink. A esse tá lá pro hospital. Não, para o Everest, perdão. O Herói que tá indo para Jojo Paul. Nossa! Eu acho que essa safe vai puxar para cima, para Shelter. Tá, eu acho que ela vai puxar para cima, para Shelter. Ela tem 2 shifts possíveis para cima. Aqui que é essa região entre Mansão e Shelter. E essa região de Milta Power para Milta. São os 2 shifts possíveis dessa safe, acredito eu. E eu mantenho essa análise. Vamos ver se vai fechar para lá mesmo. Para mim, ela pode shiftar tanto para Milta, entre Milta e a Milta Power, ou para Shelter, no caso, ir lá para cima. Entendeu? Para mim, os 2 shifts possíveis dessa safe, mas ainda ela pode impressionar nós. Tá? Então, assim, tem muito ao que fazer, tá ligado? Muito ao que fazer. Entendeu? Vamos ver com o decorrer do tempo. É fase 1, 3 minutinhos. Vamos analisar quantos jogadores já morrem no começo da partida. Vamos analisar isso e as paradas. E de dias, deixa eu dar uma olhada aqui como é que tá.
But a very proactive playstyle in saying we don't want to engage teams early, but if teams do engage us, we don't shy away. We're never we only fight when we have the upper hand, and they pretty much always have the upper hands in the fights they take.
I think the best way to describe Northern Lights versus some of the other teams, especially for viewers who maybe haven't watched that much PUBG esports before, PUBG, you tend to find there are broadly 2 types of teams. The teams that push their agenda on everyone else and the teams that end up reacting. Northern Lights is absolutely one of those teams that will push their agenda on everyone else. They won't necessarily rush in and be the first to fight. They'll take their time and be considered about it, but when they move decisively and they go through whoever happens to be in their way. So they're almost like the freight train, where it's very difficult for them to change direction, but you know 100% that's where they're going. And the force at which they hit you, whether they're first in the fight or they're the 5th party, it doesn't matter. They're so good at wiping everyone else out while keeping their team alive. It's so important to keep all 4 team members alive as long as possible. Northern Lights seem to have a knack for making sure they survive through those engagements and just watching out for each other.
Ui.
One of the main things I feel like that they do so well, I mean, I have a long list, but one of the big things that I think really goes to kind of show the skill set is how fast they can get into a fight, execute on it, and then get out of it again. I mean, you know how fast they can start a fight and finish it, essentially. Because we see so many times, how often does Northern Lights get third party? Either they are the third party or they finish the fight so fast that other teams don't get a chance to engage in it because they're so smart about how they go out and play things. But enough about the NLT boys for now. They're still getting looted up. So are everyone else.
Ui, quase que o Gustavo vai pro estouro. Eu achei que o Jeep ia atropelar ele. Cara, a maioria dos times vai ficar rotacionando pra cá, ó, entre Milta, tá ligado? E as bandas dessa ali, velho. A safe tá muito gigante, então tem como se posicionar muito bem sem trocar tiro no começo do jogo. É uma safe boa pra galera, tá ligado? Aqui é farm, o pessoal vai, tipo, se posicionando de farm. A Navi tá chegando por ali. Cara, é um milagre, tá? Ver a Navi já, tipo assim, na safe e tal, não tão numa borda de safe, né? Que farm, se eu não me engano, tá no centro da safe. E vamos ver, eu quero ficar ligado no jogo da Navi, nas rotações da Navi. Se a Navi continuar com aquelas rotações de todas as PCS que eu assisti, igual aquelas rotação milenar que começa lá em Marte e termina lá em Plutão, eu posso dizer que eles vão ficar com o mesmo jogo xoxo de sempre, tá ligado? Mas vamos ver qual que vai ser o trabalho deles nessa PCS.
Right now, looking to rotate south around. Football is not expecting them to do a wide northern wrap. I will say though, if there was a team that could do it, that would probably be them, because we've seen them do some very slow rotates. Howl already sitting in there. As much space as there technically is to get into this first circle, just with where the teams are, there's also a very good chance that we'll see teams running into one another.
So here we're watching Road to Glory. We just had a crate actually drop close, and they are actually going to get that. We saw one of those cars slowing down for it, and this is in front of them. So this is Team Rage. They're now going to be rotating past Northern Lights. This is just west of Shelter. Batulin's taking a couple of opportunistic shots. When you land that headshot onto the buggy driver, it is so satisfying. Lands one, looks for Lazar as well. He's on two wheels, using the roof to angle the car to... Okay, maybe that wasn't on purpose, but it looks
well,
cool.
Obviously it was on purpose. We're talking about the absolute prime of EMEA esports here. Of course it was 100%. If I just bank my car at like a proper 30-degree angle, they won't even be able to get a shot
Stops
on me.
the shots, easy peasy.
Very skilled, very skilled.
It's a PUBG Continental Series 101, guys. Just move your roof towards the enemy, and generally speaking, you're fine. That's Alec walking away with the AUG from that crate. They're going to be pretty happy. They're one of the teams that's most west on this circle, as you can see on your picture right now. Football is still miles outside. So are Heroic and Ents, who will be going north. So we'll find out shortly where footballers are coming in. BBL Esports are now moving in towards this position as well. And they may or may not go past Road to Glory, but most teams now able to get in just fine.
As you were saying, I'm kind of curious to see with footballers, because they were looting all the way up towards Therapy, a little west of there, and they've actually, usually your loot path, I could say, takes you further towards the circle, but footballers is up this loop further away. And as we were saying, if there's one team that could make that wide northern wrap, that would be them, and they're actually going all the way north of Core now up towards Gatton. So
I think
maybe they will be doing that northern rotation. And honestly, I mean, obviously, unless if this somehow hard shifts down to Novo, then I think it's going to be well worth it. Because if they were coming in, backfilling 7 teams on the west side, that could be them out before making top 10.
It could indeed. We can start the entertaining caster predictions early. I'll throw myself under the bus early for you, Toby. I reckon footballists will be heading north of school and apartments, maybe even north of the river and coming in via Lipovka. I think they do not mind having a very, very wide rotate here in game number 1. But we'll wait and see. We'll see.
They'll take their time, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. In the meantime, Howl spotting people, forcing them away, smart in doing so. You do not want to have neighbors nearby, especially not down and around here where there's so much open landscape, where if you have to traverse, I mean, you just want to make sure that there's some elbow space for you to kind of maneuver around. Because once those first rotations come in, if you get your tires popped now and the circle shifts away, you, my friend, are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, it won't be good at all. Protecting vehicle tires is so important in the early stages of any PUBG match, for those of you who are watching. Sure, you're safe in the building where you're at, but if the zone shifts away from you and you need to get from A to B, getting there quickly with some cover, it's always important to have the vehicles. And if those tires get disabled because you've parked your car badly, quite often that means your team's making an early exit. So definitely synchronized U-turns there from the Skate crew.
I was just gonna say, someone must have counted that down, because that was insanely simultaneous. It almost looked like a dance choreography with cars. Looking very good, and I think the calls rightly made. They heard something on the... Oh, no way, they didn't.
Oh, wait.
I'm not gonna give them the credit. I thought they'd come back because they heard something behind them and they wanted to take the fight before crossing. But no, they went backwards, then they cross over, and now they continue moving. And it's a croissants in here, the teams that come up...
Eu também achei que eles iam, tá ligado?
Very, very, very coordinated.
It's a dance routine. It was absolutely choreographed. They went, no, boys, we have to turn back. It's not 9 minutes 20 yet. We have to do this at exactly 9:20. And there we go. All 4 of them around the gas station. It looks like they're going to be moving into a 2-2 split. Some sick camera angles here, by the way. I appreciate that being ready. Thunder are just ahead of them, which is why they're not licking the stamp and sending it straight north. They're being a little bit careful, and it is going to pay off. And Tropic will shoot them from...
Vamos ver por onde é que vai fechar, mano. Eu falei que tinha 2 opções de shift. Uma pra cima, que era pra cá, puxar pra cá, e outra pra Milta. Ó, pra cá e pra cá. E ela puxou pra farm. Beleza, safezinha. Ela tirou os meus dois spots que ela podia tanto puxar pra cima e pra baixo. Ela centra, tipo assim, ela puxou basicamente um pouco pra direita essa safe. Então a gente vai ter uma safe total centralizada, tipo, pra cá, perto de farm, do ladinho de farm.
around here, but how far are you willing to go? Because remember, I mean, Skate are currently kind of traversing uncharted territories. They haven't had a chance to scout anything, so they're coming in blind no matter where they're going from.
Olha o Iruzen. Meu
I
Deus.
know that a couple of Thunder members were there, but not too close. We now have the first knock here. Example getting Noek and
Ih, o Mika
Mika
pegou.
actually able to finish it off. So that's Thunder with the first point on the board. 63 alive now, coming up to the 11-minute mark of this game. And Skade still searching for a place to call home. They finally settle on this farm-like compound here. You got the double warehouses and the hotel-style building out in front. They will be untroubled there, but it took them a while to get there.
You were not wrong, by the way, on the footballers rotation. They've literally gone from Primorsk to Yasenai in a Milta circle. I mean, they are doing the most northern rep I've seen in a long time. In the meantime, now hopping over to BBL, taking shots towards RTG, wanting to try and see if they can get away from their death. Should be able to, ironically so, stay alive on this one. And Gluten, you saw him getting knocked to blue. Probably a bit of a disconnect issue there. He is standing all on his own in Gatka, so I would assume that that's him unfortunately out for this game.
That's really frustrating for footballers. That's right. If it was a driving mishap, they would have definitely gone back to res. So might be a technical issue here. We've got Sakura Zensen now coming up onto Thunder, and this is looking significantly more serious than the engagement we saw earlier on. Hyruzen with the opening nade. Great the fact that it rolls just past that wall even, but unfortunately it gave Hyruzen plenty of time to move away. Second nade though, that'll do it.
Yep, the angle with the net there, fortunately, just in between. Now Hibako needs to come up and back up his team. He doesn't manage to get the knock on towards Nix. He's still going to be allowed to.
Caralho, de vida.
In the meantime, it's kind of caught out by the roadside. I mean, there's only 2 players left alive on Thunder, and Mika is still back in the compound, so not a whole lot Hibako can do here to really help out, or get assistance, I should say, because I mean, both his teammates have fallen. You can see here from Mika's ankle, there's only really so much he can see with Hibako being down the hill.
Oh, what a fantastic nade. Salty, they're absolutely nailing it, but because Hibako didn't get knocked, he doesn't really know how close he was to actually knocking him. That was beautiful stuff.
Ah, não, velho. Ah, não, mano. Ah, não. Mano, a granada bateu na cabeça do maluco pra mim, velho. Eu vi ela caindo nas costas do maluco e não noca, cara. Como assim, velho? Como assim, mano? Como assim não nocou essa granada, velho? Como assim não nocou, velho?
Circles going that direction, and even then, you can see QB. I was just gonna say, how long is it gonna be before Entropic gets the angle? Now they do. Hibako falls, not even gonna be able to steal the kill away. As QBE able to secure that point for Entropic there. In the meantime, footballers, welcome to the circle. They've come in from the east. You said they were going to go all the way over to the bunker. Not even going to be wrong. And that one, Nail Cup now spotting a free rotation. Takes 2, drives away, and is going to be able to escape from this life.
Ents here, this is the northeastern edge of phase 1, so I don't think Ents were expecting someone to show up right behind them at this point, but that's exactly what footballers have done.
Ela vai puxar pra ponta aqui, velho. Ah, não. Bela safe, cara.
Because there are several compounds on the coast that are completely empty at the moment, with all of the teams expecting to move.
Bela safe, velho.
Now, suddenly, they've become significantly bigger priority compounds. The first 2 or 3 teams that grab these, Toby, they're going to be laughing.
Eita que eu tô vendo negócio no Twitch
I
aqui.
was just gonna say, I mean, yes, there's a couple of compounds available. The issue is, if you don't have one of those...
Olha, a Mixi pegou
This
mitraelos.
is how open the terrain is down here. Mitraelos will fall to Mexi in a drive by everyone fighting for compounds now. These fights start brewing, battling on out. Vex gets 1, 8 falls down in return. Melman now goes down to everyone taking casualties. It's chaos all over. Everyone, like, no one expected this shift, and therefore no one could get a chance to group up. So it's just teams pulling up on split positions all over the place.
The 2-2 split from Na'Vi not quite working out there. FaZe Clan pushing in. They lose 2 before they push in, but there's going to be no one close quarters to deal with them. We're not on board with Thunder. Only Muka left. 3 members of Sakura Zensen up top. All sorts of confusion tactics coming on. Here comes the smoke grenade. And it's enough for him to get 1. Will he get 2? He needs to close the door and get underneath so he can reload. Can't do it. Thunder eliminated in 16.
Goes for the reload with 16 bullets left.
Mano, como o cara não caiu, velho.
I suppose Sakura Sans, and they do manage to get the rest on up there. Thunder will fall, as you said. First team to go down. RGG in the meantime, they've got themselves a good position in the circle. Remember, next circle.
Como ele não finalizou, velho?
go away from water, but
Yep.
how is that going to happen? Are we going northeast? Are we going northwest? Regardless, a whole hell of a lot of teams are going to have to play on foot because, I mean, either you're crashing something or it's just this is such open territory. Regardless of where the circle goes, everything on land that is in the compound, you're out in the open.
Exactly right. And that might be one of the reasons why Northern Lights are taking their time. We just saw them. They're technically outside phase 3 at the moment. They're being very chill about coming in. They're further out of the circle than footballers, by the way, guys. We were joking about their wide rotate in phase 1, but Northern Lights are consciously doing it here in phase 3. So that'll be interesting to watch. Further towards the action, you can see footballers taking a look in the direction of Sakura Zensen there. There are quite a few teams. We've got Entropic behind them and several to their left and right. So no one really wanting to move right now. But I don't think there are any compounds left for them to call home. That's the issue.
No. Right now, Northern Lights is, well, you can see Batulin scouting on forward. They're waiting for another team to A, make a mistake, or to hopefully see other teams start fighting and then potentially get a chance to third party on that. But now, I mean, obviously, that didn't happen in the time frame that they wanted it to, so they're not going to up to go west around. There is a little bit of a dip they can play just down below where they are now. I think that's going to be their first stop, and then they can see from there what's going to happen from that position. That's exactly what's going to happen here. They stop just down the hillside, take the dip. They're inside the circle. Wait and see. Next, you know it's going to shift north to some extent, but how far up is it going to go? Well, there you go.
And that's why
A safe pra farm, velho.
split or Navi phase split, I suppose, because phase managed to wipe out half the team, was so strong. Whether it was going south towards the coast or north towards farm, they would have had an opportunity to do either. So Quizzy and Alia are probably going to be making a lot of noise as teams drive to trying to dissuade other teams from crashing into them. Here come footballers. They're wrapping back around the north, but they're going to go straight through Northern Lights.
They're going to be driving straight down on top of them as well.
Nossa, Northern Lights.
Finds the second. Will they find the third as well? Nope, Nailcom so far able to
Nossa, futebolista. Eliminada na 15ª. E olha o Gustavo Ortiz.
Entropic now pushing up into the same compound that Skade are in, by the way. Only Ibby left up for Skade. So I think that was initial knock, followed by a push. And this is very important because it's the southernmost compound. It's in Sharkvin and only just in phase number 4. Ibby holding out for dear life right now, and Entropic need to clear him quickly so that they can focus on scouting and evaluating their options for the next circle. But right now, Ibby frustrating those efforts to no end.
Yeah. And Entropic, they've been backfilling on Skate this whole time, so they know exactly what they're up against. Ibby trying to now get out of here. Unfortunately, cannot. Parked exactly the way he would have wanted to. Does manage to at least get out to the edge of the compound, though we'll see how far he can get from there. Will he be able to get to Dempsey? Nope, not even gonna go for it. He's gonna opt to go left instead. See if he can maybe find somewhere to lay low, either towards the shack, or there is a bit of a dip just up in front of him here as well, which I would assume that he's going for. His shoe is.
Nossa, Ibiza.
The irony is the compound outside which Gemty got knocked is actually still free.
Vai pro skipinho, velho. Vai pro
But
skipinho.
unfortunately, Entropic could technically follow him back if they really want it. Is he changing his mind and going back again?
Now. Wait, is
It's
he
like
actually?
he's hearing me. What? No, he's got the shack. He's got
Nossa, não consegui chegar no check.
That was the
Down
insta
just
curse.
Unfortunate.
Here we
Skate
go.
will fall in 14th. Heroic in the meantime, able to get the north side of the compound. Howl opting to fall back a bit further south. So there'll be two teams sharing the snake compound up there. And in the meantime, well, they've been sitting around here for a little while now. They know that they have Sakura Sanson as neighbors. They have had, of course, RG here for a while as well. Now, the first player got down there, but how will Nixie and Salty fare?
Oh no, well, that's not good. Metaday and Slippy Zerg nailing a couple of shots. That's Nixie down already. Moving into Apocalypse. It's a 3v1 now. Metabee being very aggressive, going on the outside of the compound, immediately pushing in. Apocalypse knows exactly where Salty's at. He's holding the angle, and this is going to be a 3v1 in no time.
Very interesting to me here that Ragnar opted on a Ragnar, I should say that.
Nossa, Apocalipse.
Does manage to find Apocalypse. We'll see if he
Tu vacilou demais, Apocalipse.
In the meantime, RTG and Entropic fighting this one off the shorelines.
And Entropic, this is half the team, by the way. You might be thinking, Entropic were fighting for a compound a few moments ago. Why are they out in the open? This is Evas and Lucarux trying to be opportunistic against Road to Glory, spotting that they're in that dip, aiming to try and get a couple of extra points with the grenades. It hasn't quite worked out for them so far, so at some point they might choose to drop back. The problem is, Phase 5 has that compound out, so there's an argument for Entropic really trying to push forward and double down their efforts here.
They need to get this position on lockdown now. BBL coming in behind RGG as well. They need to full on go up and and make a proper roadblock for any other team to go through that way. In the meantime, ends opting to take the fight for the farm. They know they have to clear this before they can make their way any further. So Regnum Courier now getting pushed by the fence.
Trying to hold.
Ah,
Fantastic
Bela,
upstairs, but
nossa.
they know about that as well.
Já
And
era.
that is unfortunate dance, baby, and they are just about gonna survive. That
Como?
was so unbelievably close for
Mano,
Noah there,
como?
but he gets the heal off
Como,
just in time.
véi?
A second grenade comes in as well. He's gonna have to
Como
vacate
esse
the
cara
room.
não caiu,
Explodes
véi?
harmlessly. Ends continuing to push in, but we have now got Slippy Zerg off to the left of your screens there. He could play spoiler for everyone.
Como esse cara não caiu, velho? Não, mano, não é possível, cara. Oh, na moral, não é possível. O cara tomou molotov no pé, cara. Tancou molotov inteira, velho. Literalmente, ele tava pegando fogo inteiro, velho. O quarto inteiro pegando fogo, mano. Como é que esse cara não morreu, velho?
Finds one, Murdos finds the second in return. No Nuki goes down. Fortunately, Squeaky is there to trade the knock. Now Medibay all on his own. We'll have to see if he can get out here alive.
This is unfortunate because Slippy Zerg actually got knocked by Na'Vi of all teams, so it was a bit of a third party here, and that's not helping Regnum Kaya. They've only got one left. Medibay eating Molotovs for breakfast at this point. I'm pretty sure that's the
Olha lá,
one I've seen.
agora ele caiu pra molotov.
The Molly does finish him off. Regnum Kaya out in 12th.
And stays alive with 3 of us. Well, very impressive considering how chaotic that fight was. In the meantime, in Tropic, well, they got some good nades landed on RTG.
Meu pai,
We'll have the same answer for them just after. So they fall down. Heroic in the meantime, well, they've been a little quiet on the northern side, but you can only be quiet for so long now. They are forced to take this fight to Northern Lights. As I say that, they do back off. You can see a lot of utility being used here. Page down to very low HP, needs to go back and heal on up before they can now re-engage the fight.
Na'Vi looking at ends, and this is all very Na'Vi style, sort of understanding where people are fighting and then coming in to try and sweep up. Yes, they're happy to fight any team, but they'd like to fight them the easiest way possible. Speaking of a hard way, though, we've got Heroic.
Que bela análise do Espero.
The ridiculous nates, it's what looks like turn this fight around. Northern Lights were on their last legs there, and they still go down. They are out of the placement points here in game number 1. Heroic survive with 3, but Team Liquid are coming up the backside now.
Everyone with Corexi on their fantasy team just jumped out of the chair screaming. 3 kills confirmed for Corexi. Solid play coming through, but as you were saying, Liquid pushing strong, pushing forward. Clip finds the knock onto Corexi. Just one more player left on his feet. That's going to be Beamy trying to get out of there alive. He is going to stay put at least for now. And as we make our way into placement points here, the longer you stay up, the better your odds. Unfortunately, Howl heard these shots fired from Liquid as well, so they might be coming in this direction too.
Oh, I'm still reeling from the 2 Northern Lights players on my fantasy team. I can hear Martin laughing at me from here, but it's early days and it's game number 1. That's Beamy eliminated as Howl come in.
Mano.
Third party there. Team Liquid on one side, Howl on the other. PUBG is basically a game of who can fight last and win. And sadly, after a fantastic engagement by Heroic, take nothing away from that, they're now out in 8th.
Nail up in the meantime as well. Trying to math how the hell he's going to be able to cross this road. 3 smokes, 6 bandages, circle closing in 4 seconds, and an entire BPL and face team holding him out. It's, let me put it this way, gonna be very difficult.
I've got 2 bandages per smoke. So the solution is don't get shot, basically. We'll see how well this works out. BBL actually moving away in the vehicle might give Nailup a little bit of a wedge to move through. He hears the car as well in front of him, so he knows what's happening. So he goes, okay, if I go to the 8 o'clock position of the circle and walk in, I'm not guaranteed to get in, but that gives me a pretty good chance.
Keep in mind, Nailop has nades as well, so if he can get within distance to throw them up behind BPL.
Oh no.
I mean, this is written in the stars the way they're lined up. The issue is he needs to go for a vehicle simply taking too long here. Blue is moving forward. So say that he does commit to the run, probably realizing that, well, wait, BPL aren't expecting this at all, but is he going to be allowed to make the move forward? No. And even if BPL don't see
Ele vai danar.
Team Rage would have, so Nailop, not wanting to give any points away for free, takes it down to Blue.
Getting serious now as we move into the top 6 here in game number 1. BBL, they've got the southwestern sector of the circle, but they're just outside at the moment with limited cover. They're going to be fine for phase 6, but I'm not sure about after that. Down south, we got FaZe Clan. You can just about see them on your minimap. And almost in between them, a little bit further into the circle, in that dip, is Team Rage. Both BBL and FaZe Clan may want to be moving in somewhere close to them in the very near future. And I actually don't know who wins that, because if Team Rage get aggressed by 2 directions at once, Toby, it's them that comes out the losers there. So this is tricky.
Sure is. I'm loving that we're getting that little POV on James as well. Liquid really taking control of the northeast side of the circle. James alone is playing spoiler against Navi inside that compound, allowing for his 3 teammates to stay on the north side and hold out Howl. Issue for Howl is if they start pushing forward, you can hear it here as well, then FaZe is going to have line of sights of them.
Yep.
With Vex being up on the vehicle there. So James really, I mean, granting his team an additional couple of 100 meters to work with.
Nossa, quase que ele atropela o Jim.
Down to low HP, almost hit by the car too. Could have been dangerous, could have been difficult, but let's get healed on up. Circle, hard shift down towards BBL, forcing the last compound out of play.
Nossa.
And this is interesting because James isn't trying to get kills here. He's basically the anchor for the team, wanting to tell the rest of the team, if Navi push north, James will tell them. And it's Team Liquid. They've got 3 players up north towards Howl, but Howl have actually moved towards the center of the circle. They move very early on. Thunderlost manages to get a knock. Ruin looks like he's going to be able to get back up, although they need the smokes and the cover to be able to do that. This actually gives Liquid a very easy rotate in because Howl are busy fighting another team, so Liquid can chill out almost and do this on foot at their own pace.
It allows them forward anyway. Issue is now, I mean, the further they push this direction, the further away from James they go, and they will have to fight this as a 3-man if they opt to push over this hillside too, because there's no way James is going to be able to have an impact on this battle. Smash backing off, knowing that he's outnumbered, doesn't have a vest either. Smart for him to run away from their face. In the meantime, up and take the fight to the
Lazda pegou o Thunderlost.
pushing further into the circle.
Alia with a whole bunch of nades. Excellent headshot onto Quizzy from James. He's coming in with a third party, not necessarily expecting a different team here, choosing the opportunity wisely. And Alia banking that off the side of the house to lose a bit of momentum on the nade, gets the knock onto Diggory. Fantastic grenade work.
Very impressive from Alia. It's literally single player.
Nossa.
So that's gonna be good. Vex falls down as well. Alia continuing to do damage to FaZe Clan.
Nossa, FaZe.
And he will do it and more. FaZe out in 6th place as somehow not
Caralho.
prevails, and Alia stays alive.
James here with the follow-up nades to try and finish off whoever's there. We'll see that it's Alia in the kill feed. And now they're going to have to face off against each other. We have got Mixie, by the way, by the drop. Oh, this is beautiful. It forces Alia through the smokes. It means that James knows exactly where Alia is by process of elimination.
BBL caiu.
Making his way back towards
Eita
Mixie
porra.
as well. So he's slowly going to make this a 2v1.
Circle slowly closing in, and as you were saying, Mixie coming back here to assist as well is massive. Now he finds Alia as well. 3 teams left alive. This has got Liquid written all over it, unless if Team Rage has something to say. How in a difficult position down here. And look at the way that Liquid is splitting out right now. Full control in their 2-2 split. Maintain that control shouldn't be too difficult either with the way that the terrain is. And I'm looking at Team Rage right now, Joe. I'm not seeing where they can push from here.
Team Liquid está bem, velho, na safe.
Because the next circle is actually the worst possible one for
No.
both halves of their team have to move in.
No.
Thank you very much for those extra points, mate. Much appreciated. Delightful long. Oh my god. Never mind. I will take all of that. And
Caramba.
Liquid had to push into both teams. Nope, it's just the one. Thanks to Bud.
Yep. Here comes Team Rage. Merc peeks on over. They are down to 3 already, though, Lassa. In the meantime, trying to see if he can find another. Liquid forced to make the push on forward, and obviously Team Rage realizing now they're getting shot up from multiple angles here. Beyond each split issue is if one gets knocked here on either side, you got to full commit to the rest, and then if Team Rage can get a knock in, how do they play accordingly? They know that they're catching them in a split here. So the danger is that there's multiple angles to hold. The thing is, they're also pushing very thinly forwards.
Exactly. Team Liquid can snowball really quickly if they get the first knock. Because there are multiple angles that they can come up onto Team Rage. But if Team Rage get the first knock, it might be possible for them to just wipe out 1 3v2 and then reset.
Smart play.
Lots of nades. Unfortunately, that half of Team Liquid aren't there anymore, and all of them are pushing forward. High risk, high reward here, and Team Liquid are slowly starting to bunch back up. James with the org, checking at the right-hand side of the smokes. Team Rage approved as well. Both teams very mobile in this final engagement, using the smokes very well, I have to say.
As much as this allowed for Liquid to regroup, I think that was the exact decision to be made by Team Rage. They see the split, they think we have to punish one side before the other can do anything to engage. Unfortunately, it kind of worked against them in the fact that now Liquid not only has the dot, but they're also completely grouped up. But had Team Rage tried to do this before Clip and Vart had been allowed to push down the side of the circle there, that could have easily been a 3v2 against James and Mexi, with Vart and Clip simply not really being able to do a whole lot about it. But now, I mean, again, all 4 All liquid players up and alive, all prone down, ready and waiting for what will have to be Team Rage pushing straight into the boys in blue.
And they recognized as well, look, Team Rage's biggest advantage is this lovely little ridge and dip that they've got going here. There's no reason for them to push further in where this gives them the best chance, for example, to get a revive if one of them gets knocked.
Ah, é. A Team Liquid não vai puxar porque eles estão no centro da safe. A Team Rage vai ser obrigada, tá ligado? A vir pra cima. Nossa, deixa tudo igual agora. O Scofield pegou o mix e ali, velho. O Mestre tá avançando aqui pela direita da safe. Quase que ele cai, mano. Os tiros do Vad e do Jim, se eu não me engano. Ai, caralho, velho. Pra cima aqui dos caras da Team Rage, mano. Deixaram tudo igual agora, velho. É a finaleira. Agora é só ficar deitado e esperar. A safe tá batendo. Eles não têm utilitários. Tem que ficar baixado. Opa, a Scofield pegou o VAD agora nesse momento. Deixa um 3x2 agora. Estão partindo pra cima. O James não tem como curar, velho. Levantou. O Scofield pegou o James agora. 3x1. Acabou o game. Será? Não. Clip. Deu um spray. Não acertou as balas. Caralho, o Team Liquid está com 12 kills nesse momento. Opa, nocou um. O Scofield cobrou. Vai ter que healar agora nesse momento. Caramba, velho. Os caras não puxam, mano. No seu lado. No lado. Meu Deus, velho. No lado, cara.